First of all, allow me to say that I do not view this as challenges, but rather as opportunities. Decarbonization imposes the needs for cleaner fuels and the associated standardized infrastructure which does not exist for the so-called green fuels. At the same time, we need regulations which also do not exist, with some exceptions, like for methanol, for example. The decarbonization will impose a significant financial burden, at least in the beginning, and at the same time digitalization goes hand in hand. They have symbiotic effect and they go together. We have the risk in the digitalization, the challenge of cybersecurity, which might impose problems in the operation of ships. We need to upscale the skills of the labor force because, of course, we need to go into new technologies like artificial intelligence, Internet of Things, and also at the same time it helps with improving with advanced sensors the maintenance schedule. We have a new commodity which is the data. So this helps to improve the operations. I need to say here that it is not only the clean fuels, green fuels that we say, but also energy efficiency enhancing technologies. This is also another aspect. Overall, I believe that both decarbonization and digitalization are not just challenges, but essential for the viability of shipping to fulfill the targets that have been set by the regulatory authorities. Everybody talks about emission reduction. To achieve that, we need to have the appropriate fuels that have lower greenhouse gas emissions. So it is imperative that we develop the green production of such fuels. When I say green production, I mean hydrogen with renewable, where the electricity is provided by renewable sources of energy, and carbon from carbon capture, appropriate carbon capture. This is one aspect. The other aspect is to provide the infrastructure, the distribution network for such fuels. This is also another problem which is critical, is the cost of these fuels. The cost is prohibitive. At the moment, they are not financially feasible because the cost is about 4, 5, 6 times more than the fossil fuels. So we need to increase the scale of production, which we expect to take the cost down. And also a very critical and is a requirement by the industry is the so-called provision of incentives, or we can call it green financing. The ship owner must be incentivized in a way to burn the green fuels, the more expensive green fuels, in a way, in some like for example, the midterm measures by the IMO try to bridge the gap, the price gap between the fossil fuels and the synthetic green fuels. As a transition, we might go with the so-called biofuels, which is also a good solution, but they are also more expensive. So we need incentives anyway. The other thing, we have to educate the public about this. We need to have extensive infrastructure also onshore, because we have the regulations that impose to getting electricity from onshore, especially for cruisers and container ships. And the requirement is that this electricity must come from renewable sources. Otherwise, we have problem. So overall, there is a long list from the industry, but I will just limit myself to the need for this cheap future green fuels. And I would like to also underline that at the moment there are no appropriate regulations on how to install them. So that's another thing that the IMO and other entities must work for. Safety of the crews is very critical, and we need to prioritize the safety issues for the future maritime environment. What happens is that the various fuels that are going to be established in the future are not well known. We have the fossil fuels for which there is experience, but not for the new guys. So we need to develop safety sheets that will cover the properties of the new fuels, like flammability, toxicity, handling, and what to do in case of emergency. So these have to be established by comprehensive risk assessment. Right now there are no rules, as we said in the previous question. So the way we design the vessels is by risk assessment. What I mean by risk assessment is to study the probable hazards that might appear and take care, mitigate them. So this is of primary importance. Here I would like to underline the collaboration between various stakeholders, because data exchange, data sharing, and knowledge sharing is important for the future. I would like to point out that sustainable future is not just essential, it's the only pathway, the only way. So I urge everybody to embrace the principles of sustainability, get sustainability culture for sustainable and digital future.